Hi, this is Gail Nettles with Beaded Jewelry Diva. Today's project is going to be this bracelet. The bracelet's made with Tila beads, made with twin beads and Rizzo beads, and if you watched me in a recent video, I said that I really hadn't used these beads very much because I hadn't quite found a good use for them. Well, guess what? I found a use for them. Anyway, this is the bracelet we're going to make. It has a magnetic clasp. Of course, you can use the clasp of your choice. But here's the bracelet, and next up are the supplies that you're going to need for them. Talk about the supplies on this. I will be using the Tila beads. Tila beads come to us out of Japan. They're made by Miyuki, who also brings us the delicas. They've been out for quite a few years. Next are going to be the twin beads. These are very similar to the Super Duo beads, but they are thicker in profile and not as tapered on the ends. They come to us out of the Czech Republic. Rizzo beads, they're the same thing. They come to us out of the Czech Republic. They're like itty bitty teeny weeny daggers. They're rice shaped. Probably a little bit larger than a big grain of rice, but again, Czech Republic. Seed beads. Let's see, we will need a clasp. I am using a magnetic clasp. A couple of jump rings to attach the clasp. A couple pair of pliers. This is for using the jump rings. Whoopsie daisy. You can tell it's a magnetic clasp. And of course, needle and thread. That's what we need to go ahead and get started. So, that being said, let's get started. Very beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and thread on a stop bead, and I would suggest that you leave about 8 inches that you'll be using for putting on the clasp. So 8-inch tail. You're going to go ahead and pick up 1 Tila bead and 1 twin bead. Slide them down. Then your thread is coming out of this hole on your twin bead. You're going to put it up, your needle up through the other hole of the twin bead. So it's going to kind of look like this. Then you're going to pick up another of the Tilas. Then pick up another twin. So you've got it looking like this now. Your thread is coming out of the bottom hole of the twin. I'm going to put my needle up through the other hole of the twin. And then I'm going to take my needle and put it through the hole that has the stop bead. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put it through the original twin bead as well. Draw it together, and you can see that it's coming in like this. So it looks kind of like a ladder now, or starting to be a ladder. Okay, I've got my thread coming out of the bottom of this twin. I'll put it back through the top of the twin and through the Tila. Do not put it through the top of the other twin. Just put it through the top of this twin and the Tila. Pull it tight. And yes, it's going to look a little funky at first. It's going to look off kilter. Don't worry about it because that's going to be fixed later on when we do the embellishment. Okay, so our thread is coming out of this hole of this Tila. We're going to go ahead and put it up through the top hole. So now it looks like this. We've got the thread coming out of the top hole of this Tila. I'm going to go ahead and put on another one of the twins, and we're going to do like we did before. The thread is coming out of the bottom. I'm going to put my needle in through the top. I'm going to go ahead and grab another Tila, another twin, I'm going to take my thread So my thread's coming out of this bottom hole. I'm going to put it back through the top. And this is the second Tila bead, or the second twin bead rather. So now it kind of looks like this, looks all funky. I'm going to go ahead and put my needle back through this Tila bead, and actually this twin bead as well. Draw it, and there you've got the next step on the ladder. So once again, needle is coming out of this bottom hole of this twin. I'm putting the needle back through the top hole of the twin, through the Tila bead. I'm not going back through this other twin. Put the needle through the top side of the Tila. Now you're ready to add on another twin and just keep adding and adding and adding. You're going to keep doing this until your bracelet is about as long as you want it, minus the clasp. Before you decide exactly on your clasp and everything like that, you may want to watch this video all the way through to see what I do for the clasp. If you already have an idea of what you want to do for the clasp, just go with what you want. But what I'm going to do is, mine is going to end up being about, oh, I don't know, 1.5 inches shorter than what I want to wear, because my clasp is going to end up taking up about 1.5 inches. Okay, so I will join you back when I have my bracelet the length I want. My bracelet about to the length I want it. What I've done is, on the final bead, I have gone back through the Tila bead and up through the twin bead. So now my thread is coming up through the twin bead. I'm actually going to go ahead and go back down the other side of the twin bead and down through this part of the other twin bead. So I'm just kind of go through again. But instead of going back up again to this side, now I'm going to start embellishment going this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a size 11, a Rizzo, and a size 11. And I'm going to go to the next twin bead over, and I'm going to go ahead and put my needle down through it, the Tila and the twin on the opposite side, and pull tight. And there you go. That's the first of the embellishments. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Size 11, Rizzo, size 11, then put it down through this particular one. So we've got it coming out of this one. We're putting it down through this one. So we've got it looking like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it up through this set again. So let's see. So I've got it coming down through here, through the size 11, the 12, or excuse me, the Rizzo, the size 11, the twin, and then the Tila. So kind of just going around in a kind of a circle. Okay, however, I'm not going up through this one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other side of this particular twin bead. So normally I would go up through this one. I'm going to sneak over and go through the other one. So now my thread is coming out of the top of this one, and it puts me in a perfect position to go ahead and do the embellishments. So once again, it is going to be 11, Rizzo, come on Rizzo, 11, down through this twin, the Tila, and the other twin. And if you can't get it through all the beads, just go ahead and do it how you can. Sometimes they get a little bit stiff on you. So now I've got it looking like that again. So once again, we've got the 11, the Rizzo, and the 11 down through this one. So we've got it coming back up through the Tila, then back through this set of beads, down through the Tila, the twin and the Tila I should say, and then remember at this point you're not going to go up through this one, you're going to snake your thread over and needle over, and you're going to come through the other hole. This will again put you in the position to go ahead and start with another embellishment going from this one to this one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish doing this, and then when we come back we're going to talk about how to put on your clasp. I went ahead and I finished, so I've got all the little Rizzo beads and size 11 seed beads on. So what I've got to do now is I've got to go ahead and take care of the clasp part. So what I did is I tied off the end of my other thread and cut it off, and now what I did is I'm back with the very end. I took off the stop bead, and so here I am back at the beginning, threaded on a needle. So what I'm going to do is I've got my thread coming out of this top of this twin bead, so I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see if I can get these a little bit closer to me. I'm going to put 2 size 11s up through the top of the Tila. So it's going to look like that. Then I'm going to put about 10 or 12. I'm going to string about 10 or 12 seed beads on. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's see. First I'm going to check at 10. Because what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put it around. So actually 10 looks pretty good. So I've got 10. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through this top bead. Okay, so you see I've got it in a circle. Now I'm going to take 2 more of the size 11s and I'm going to put it down through this other twin and then back up through the original twin. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a decorative effect. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Now if I want an extra seed bead here, which I think I'm going to, because I want to have one more joining this to this one, and this is just whatever you like. That's you don't have to do this particular part. So there, I've got one more seed bead. Then this is one of my original ones. This is one of my original ones through the Tila. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go around a few times. I'm going to reinforce this loop because we really need the loop to be very strong, because this is where we're going to go ahead and attach our clasp. So rather than make you watch me go through this a few times, I'm just going to go ahead and do this off camera and be back. Oh, before I do that, I'm going to go back through the top of the Tila, back through one of my beads, the second bead that I put on, and then I'm going to attach one more third bead to go back through. So now both sides are going to be even. Okay, I finished off the first side and now I'm on the second side, and I thought I'd show you how I tie off. Okay, where I am is I'm coming out of the top Tila bead, or the top hole of the Tila bead, and I'm going to go up through a couple of the seed beads. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a half hitch knot. Make sure to get it in the right spot. There we go. Go through another 2 or 3 seed beads. Make another half hitch knot. And continue, I usually make at least 2 and most likely 3 or 4 half hitch knots. And that way I like to go ahead and reinforce it quite a bit, because really only 2 half hitch knots you can get away with it because you've got your thread going through this so many times. But I would rather err on the side of caution, and I would rather go ahead and put too many half hitches in there rather than too few. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and put this through another bead before I cut it off. And then take a pair of scissors and cut. Okay, we've got everything except for the well, I shouldn't say we've got everything, but we've got everything for the bracelet part. We now just have to finish up the part for the clasp. Okay, now I am with a needle and thread again. I've only got about maybe a couple feet of thread. I put a stop bead back on, and now I'm going to slip on 4 size 11 seed beads, because what we're going to do is we're going to create a ladder stitch tube. Okay, so I've got 4 seed beads on here. Here's my stop bead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through the very first 2 seed beads I strung on. Okay, so when I pull it tight, you can see it's going to be 2 beads on 2 beads. So they're already forming the first part of the ladder. My thread is coming out of this seed bead, so I'm going to go back up through the top 2 seed beads, and then I'm going to go back down through the other 2 seed beads. So these would be the first 2. And the reason I'm doing that is because I really want to reinforce the stability of this. Now if I want to, I can just go ahead and take this stop bead off, but I'm just going to move it on down some. The reason that I'm keeping this on is because I want to use this to tie off a little bit later. So from this point, we take 2 more seed beads. My working thread is coming out of the top, so I'm going to put my needle up through the bottom. You always want to put your needle up through the opposite side from where your working thread is at. So now my working thread is at here. I'm going to go down through these 2 seed beads. I'm going to put on 2 more. My working thread is coming down from the bottom of this one, so my needle is going to go through the top, pull it through, then needle up. What you're going to do is you're going to do this until you have 8 rows. I've got 8 rows on, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join the ends so that they form a circle. But before I do that, I've got to make sure that I put this through the loop. So the reason I'm doing this is going to create another loop on for my clasp to fit in. Now this is a step that you don't necessarily have to make. I think it adds a really nice decorative element to the clasp to go ahead and have this this extra ladder loop, but it's up to you. Anyway, what I've done is I've got the ladder through the end of the bracelet. My thread is coming out of this bead right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up through these 2 on the other side. So I'm joining, I'm making a ring. Put it down through these 2. So these were the 2 that I used. So now you can see that it's joined, but it's very very fragile at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it by putting my needle and thread through a couple more times. Okay. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around this whole ring again. I'm going to go ahead and reinforce, because this is part of the clasp, so the clasp obviously takes a lot of abuse. And I'm just going to go back and forth through it to make sure that everything's all settled. And as soon as I'm done with this, I'll be back and we'll show you the next step of putting on the clasp. I almost forgot. Remember the end that I had the stop bead on? I'm going to go ahead and just tie a knot now. And I've got these threads right next to each other, so they're coming out of beads that are right next to each other. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie them, and that way when I'm finished tying them, I'll cut them, and that'll be it for tying off this particular end of the bracelet. Just about done. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking my 2 jump rings, and these are 5mm jump rings, and I've got them in a bronzy goldish color, so I just opened them. What I'm going to do now is take the jump ring, put it through that end loop, attach the magnetic clasp, and then I'm going to go ahead and close the jump ring. And remember, always do it side to side, never open it up this way. Okay, make sure that they're nice and settled in. I could do a better job on that, but for the sake of time, I won't. Okay, so I've got one end done. Got this jump ring opened. I will put it through this end and then hook it onto the actual clasp and close these. Okay. There you go. And you might notice that I like to mix my metals, but that's just a personal preference on my part. So here we go. Here's a bracelet. We have the Tila beads, we have the Rizzo beads, we have the twin beads, magnetic clasp, a little bit of bead weaving, and voila. I also want to show you one that I made that's very similar. This one is done up in a white color, but what I did is I used the Super Uno beads here and the Super Duo beads here. So you can tell that they're very similar, and it all depends on what look you like better. The Super Uno beads are a little bit thicker and shorter than the Rizzo beads. But again, like I said, it's up to you. They both have the same kind of closure. So I still have the ladders and the jump rings. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this video with the bracelet and using the Tila beads and the Rizzo beads and the twin beads. If you like this video, I hope you'll give it a like, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, I hope you'll subscribe to me and come on over and visit me at my website, www.beadedjewelrydiva.com. Meanwhile, catch you later and happy beading. Bye.